The Council of 13 Empires had made a grave miscalculation. They believed humanity was weak, scattered across primitive star systems ripe for subjugation. They had studied human biology, analyzed their technology, and deemed them insignificant. What they failed to understand was that humans did not fight alone. Commander Arik Dalen stood at the bridge of the defiant dawn, his weathered hands gripping the railing as the void of space stretched endlessly before him. Behind him, two presences loomed, one ancient and terrible, the other wild and untamed. Firil, the dragon from the burned world of Drakenor, shifted his massive scaled form, wings folded tight against the ship's reinforced bay. Beside him, Fenrix, the dire wolf alpha from the ice planet of Lupara, paced with predatory grace, golden eyes fixed on the viewport. "They're coming," Arik said quietly, his voice steady despite the odds. 300 Council warships materialized from hyperspace, their sleek hulls reflecting the cold light of distant stars. The Galactic Council's armada had arrived to crush the last human resistance. "Let them come," Viral rumbled, his voice like grinding tectonic plates. Smoke curled from his nostrils and the temperature in the bridge rose several degrees. "I have burned fleets before," Fenrix growled low in agreement, his massive frame bristling with anticipation. "And I have hunted prey that thought themselves safe in numbers." The Council had conquered 47 species in 300 years. They had perfected the art of overwhelming force, of psychological warfare, of breaking civilizations before the first shot was fired. But they had never faced a human who had befriended the unbefriendable. Arik Dalen had not set out to become a legend. 5 years ago, he had been a simple exploration captain, mapping uncharted systems. On Drakenor, he found Viral, the last of his kind, wounded and dying after his world was scorched by Council bombardment. Where others would have fled from a creature of nightmare, Arik had stayed. He had shared his water, his rations, and his fire. He had treated the dragon's wounds with his own hands. Dragons did not forget such things. On Lupara, he found Fenrix leading his pack through an endless winter, their hunting grounds poisoned by Council mining operations. Arik had freed them, dismantling the automated facilities with nothing but determination and a plasma cutter. The wolf had recognized something in the human, the same fierce loyalty to pack, the same willingness to stand against impossible odds. Wolves understood such things. Now, 3 beings who should never have met stood together against the galaxy's most feared armada. "All ships, this is Dalen." Arik spoke into the comm, his voice broadcasting to the ragtag human fleet of 20 vessels. "They think we're cornered. They think we're finished. Show them what happens when you corner a human who has something to fight for." The Council's lead dreadnought, the Sovereign Judgment, opened fire first. Plasma lances tore through space, targeting the human flagship. Viral moved before the shields could buckle. The dragon launched himself from the bay in a blast of expelled atmosphere, his wings spreading wide in the vacuum. Ancient draconian magic, dismissed by the Council as superstition, ignited around him. He became a comet of azure flame, intercepting the plasma barrage with his own body. The Council had calculated for ships. They had not calculated for a dragon who could burn in the void of space itself. Viral crashed into the Sovereign Judgment like a meteor, his claws tearing through hull plating that was meant to withstand capital ship weapons. He breathed flame directly into the ship's core, and the dreadnought erupted in a cascade of secondary explosions. Fenrix did not wait. The dire wolf moved through shadows, an ability his species had developed on a world where darkness lasted for decades. He phased aboard a Council carrier, his pack of 50 wolves materializing behind him. What followed was not a battle but a hunt. Council troops, trained for ship-to-ship combat, found themselves prey in their own corridors. Fenrix led his pack through the carrier with devastating efficiency, targeting life support, bridge controls, and weapon systems. Wolves understood weak points. Arik Dalen commanded the human fleet with the precision of a chess master, while Viral drew the Council's heavy hitters and Fenrix crippled their support vessels. Human ships struck in coordinated strikes. They used guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run maneuvers, and unconventional weapons that the Council's combat algorithms couldn't predict. The Council adaptation protocols kicked in. They began targeting Viral with antimatter missiles. They flooded the carrier with nerve gas to eliminate Fenrix's pack. They formed defensive formations that their war computers promised would be impenetrable, but they still didn't understand. Arik Dalen pressed a single button. From the defiant dawn launched 1,000 small drones, not weapons but transmitters. Each one broadcast a single message in every frequency, in every language the Council knew. Humanity does not stand alone. It was the signal. From the asteroid field beyond, they came. Dragons from hidden sanctuaries, believing their species extinct, had heard Viral's roar across the void. Wolves from a dozen ice worlds, united by Fenrix's call, phased into real space by the hundreds. And humans. Humans from every liberated world, from every freed colony, from every ship that had ever crossed paths with Arik Dalen, warped into the battlefield. The Council had calculated for 20 ships. They now faced 2,000. The dragon Viral soared alongside 36 of his kin, an ancient flight of vengeance made manifest. The wolf Fenrix led not one pack but 100, shadow-walking through Council formations like death itself. And the human Arik Dalen commanded an alliance that should have been impossible. The Battle of the Shattered Gate lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Council's armada was scattered wreckage. The Sovereign Judgment was a tomb drifting through space. 300 warships reduced to fleeing survivors. In the aftermath, Arik stood once more at the bridge, Viral perched beside him in his usual place, Fenrix resting at his feet. The galaxy would never be the same. The Council of 13 Empires had learned what countless species before them had failed to understand. Humans did not conquer through superior technology. They did not win through overwhelming force. Humans won because they made allies of the unconquerable, friends of the untamable, brothers of those the galaxy had abandoned. The dragon, the wolf, and the human had shattered the galaxy's greatest empire, and together, they would build something better from the pieces.